I never believed in revenge until the day my own blood betrayed me. It started quietly, like most betrayals do. Last summer, when my back gave out and I had to rest, I asked my relatives to manage my countryside farmhouse in Yorkshire for a few months. That land was my life's work, 40 years of sweat, sacrifice, and hope. Every tree had grown under my hands. Every inch of soil carried my story. My nephew Oliver was the first to volunteer. "Don't worry, uncle," he said with that charming grin people mistake for honesty. "We'll handle everything just like family." When I returned 3 months later, I didn't recognize my own home. The locks had been changed. The sign that once read Storyhouse Farm had been replaced by O. Turner Estates. My old caretaker, Mr. Bennett, was gone, dismissed without notice. Oliver stood at the gate, arms crossed, and said smoothly, "Uncle, you really should rest at your cottage in the city. We've got everything under control." Under control, indeed. The barns were empty, the fields bare, and the accounts drained. To my shock, the villagers told me I had gifted the property to Oliver. They even showed me documents, complete with my forged signature. I said nothing. Anger, I've learned, burns you faster than it punishes others. At 72, you learn patience. I quietly returned to my small apartment in Leeds and started planning. My old lawyer friend, Mr. Collins, nearly spilled his tea when I told him what happened. "Harold," he said, using my first name with rare concern, "you raised these people." "I did," I replied, "and now it's time I teach them what I forgot to teach when they were young, honor." We worked for weeks. I gathered every document I could find, reported the forgery, and legally transferred my farmhouse into a new charitable trust under my name, the Storyhouse Foundation, dedicated to supporting orphans and struggling farmers. The farmhouse would serve as the trust's base, a place for learning, shelter, and hope. Then I waited. 2 months later, I sent invitations for a family reunion dinner. The message was simple: come home, it's time to start fresh. They came dressed like royalty. My sister Margaret arrived in pearls and perfume. Oliver came in a tailored navy suit, his arm around his wife Clara, who looked at the farmhouse like it was already hers. The dining hall was lit with warm lights, and the scent of roast lamb filled the air. For a while, it almost felt like old times. They laughed, reminisced, toasted to family. After dessert, I stood up slowly and tapped my glass. "I want to thank you all for helping me," I began, smiling kindly. "You managed the farm while I was unwell, and now I've made a decision about its future." Oliver smirked, raising his glass. "About time, uncle, we've got plans for the land." "I'm sure you do," I said, chuckling. "But so do I as of this morning. The farmhouse and all its land belong to the Storyhouse Foundation, a charitable trust in my name. It will house orphan children and train young farmers. The papers are signed, sealed, and witnessed by the county registrar." The laughter died. Clara's fork clattered onto her plate, Margaret's face went pale, and Oliver's smile vanished completely. You can't do that," he stammered. "I already have," I said calmly. "And for the record, the police have your forged documents. Mr. Collins will be delivering them tomorrow." No one said another word. They left that night in silence, the gravel crunching beneath their expensive shoes. When the last car disappeared down the road, I sat on the old wooden bench outside. The moon was full, casting silver light over the fields. The same moon that had watched me plant the first seed 40 years ago now watched me plant another kind, justice. A month later, the farmhouse came alive again, not with greed or gossip, but with laughter. Children played in the yard, young men learned how to plow, and the kitchen smelled of fresh bread and hope. A sign over the gate read, "Welcome to Storyhouse Farm, a place of second chances." Sometimes revenge isn't about hurting others. It's about restoring what they tried to destroy. That night, as I closed the door and heard the children's laughter echoing through the halls, I smiled to myself. Grandpa Storyhouse didn't just reclaim his land. He reclaimed his peace, his purpose, and his legacy. And somewhere in the distance, I like to think Oliver finally understood the lesson I never had to speak aloud. Never mistake kindness for weakness.